Hello again, you extraordinary subscribers. Welcome back, everybody, to the Hemingway Land YouTube channel. It occurred to me a couple days after last week's video that no doubt fascinating story that I told last week about New Mexico's 7th worst title company. Yes, people, for however much complaining I did in last week's video, there are still 6 title companies in the state of New Mexico that I would prefer to deal with less than the one discussed last week. Whatever the case, in the video, I gave a little clue, I gave a little hint to anybody who wanted to try to sleuth this one out, figure out what title company it was. I said, I think the title company services a county named after one of our vice presidents. And it did not occur to me until a few days later that the 33 counties in New Mexico all have very Spanish names. And of course, here in America, we've never had a vice president of any sort of Spanish, Mexican, Latino, Hispanic lineage. We've never had that. So it becomes a lot easier to figure out. In fact, let's throw up the map for a second. It becomes a lot easier to figure out when you eliminate counties with names like San Juan, Santa Fe, Sandoval, Cibola, Socorro, Sierra, Catron, Hidalgo, Luna, Doña Ana, Otero, Chavez, De Baca, Guadalupe, Quay, Mora, San Miguel, Torrance, Taos, Valencia, Bernalillo, Los Alamos, and Rio Riba. And what you're left with at that point, you've actually got only about 10 counties then, and 5 of those counties are named after presidents. So then, when you subtract Lincoln, Grant, McKinley, Roosevelt, and Harding, this becomes a lot easier. And I know there's some Sharpies out there who are listening right now who are saying, hey, wait a minute, Hemingway. Roosevelt was McKinley's vice president before he was assassinated. Maybe it's Roosevelt. Well, here's the thing, guys. Good thinking. Good thinking. Unfortunately, no. Regrettably, we have never purchased land in Roosevelt County. Ergo, it's not Roosevelt. So you're left with 5 counties at that point to anybody who wants to try to get to the bottom of this. And I know many of you are watching right now like Hemingway. It was a moderately amusing story last week. I lost interest in it immediately. I don't care a week later. Perhaps you could move on. Yeah. I know, guys. But nonetheless, it was on my mind. So I figured I'd discuss it. Anyway, guys, with all that said, special thanks to everyone who gave us money for property and didn't follow it by calling with 1,000 questions and then changing their minds. Again, guys, we're working on the title. We're workshopping it this weekend. We hope to streamline it. Whatever the case, I'm alluding to this very popular, intensely popular Bernalillo County property that we have. We've had 3 buyers attached to this now. 3 buyers, and it seems like it's such an appealing property that will give us money without reading or watching or thinking. It's amazing because we had somebody put down a deposit on the property, and then they called me like the next day, and they were like, "Hey, wait a minute, does it ever snow in New Mexico?" Does it snow in New Mexico? Yeah, and occasionally it snows in New Mexico. Oh, I can't, I'm not going to buy this then. Really? That wasn't something you could have figured out on your own. You couldn't have Googled that, or that was the... All right. I feel like there's a story there. I feel like somebody isn't admitting the whole reason. Whatever the case, snow. That's a deal breaker. So anyway... Special thanks to, in Torrance County, sold some land to Frank, Albert, Lena, and Nicholas, all of whom bought some land from us out there in the Estancia Ranchettes. It bears mentioning, guys, that this Estancia Ranchettes, I feel, is like a seasonal property. I feel like it has seasonal attraction. I encounter this occasionally with some subdivisions, which is that we sold like 0 between September and February. And now we've sold like 50 in the last 3 weeks. Not really, but you get my point. In neighboring Valencia County, sold some land to Diane and Rob. Special thanks to Diane and Rob. And down in the southern portion of the state in Luna County, Nick and Nicole picked up one of those Deming Ranchettes properties. So special thanks to all of them. With all that said, guys, going live on the website this week, we are back, as you can see from the state flag I have queued up here, back in Nueva Mexico, up in the northern part of the state with boom. Yes, people, we are back in San Juan County, up here in the northwest portion of the state with some new property around the Navajo Marina. I don't know if you guys have taken notice over the years. We get a lot of mileage out of this photo. It's a good photo, number one. But number two, my now half decade of selling land online has taught me that if a property is anywhere close to a body of water, show the body of water. Because a lot of people can't intuit this. You need to show the body of water. Anyway, the point, guys, we're back up by the Navajo Marina. We've got a 2.43 acre property priced this week at $12,000. So, should be noted, of course, the property sits up here roughly about 4 miles north of the marina and just off of Highway 511 over here in this region. Now, a couple things I want to bring to your attention. I'm actually going to try to talk slowly because there's a lot to go over here. So first off, this is a property that has legal access, though it does not sit off a main road like this, okay? This is a property that sits up here. You can actually kind of see a legal easement or utility easement that is carved out here. This is the access to the subject property, and this is something that I was very curious about before we tried to buy the property. So one, of course, our purchase agreement was contingent on the property having legal access, number one. And then number two, we had the property surveyed and staked. We had somebody go out there and stake the property. Cheney Walters Eccles is the surveyor in that region. We had them do that to prove that the property is in fact accessible, has legal access. So despite the fact that this one looks a little landlocked, it in fact is not. Just coming in here off road 4050 down to the property. Now it should also be noted as we zoom in on the land here, you can see there's some neighboring structures here, here, and here. There's a utility easement here, which you can kind of barely make out on Google Maps. And there are underground utilities here at the road servicing these nearby home sites. So likely if you are to go out of the property, you can develop it with power, with underground utilities, get those extended out to the lot. Now, of course, our photographer was out here in the winter months when it snows. So we've got pictures of the glorious Navajo Marina during the summer months, and then we've got these kind of garbagey, yucky, half snowy, half dirt photos, but there you go. Anyway, these are the aforementioned underground utilities. This is the road access coming here off the 4050. This is that sort of legal easement, utility easement I showed you guys. And as we go through this, you can see there's the power lines at the subject property. I have no idea what this gate is, but it's not closed. It does not bar access to the land. Additionally, you can kind of see the neighbor structures here in some of these photos, and you can see the property boundary markers. Here's a quick story about property boundary markers, guys. I do not order a lot of surveys, and I am the easiest person in the world to upsell on anything. So when I call and say, hey, I'd like the property staked, I assume that means that somebody's going to draw a square on a piece of paper. That apparently is extra money. But nobody said to me, oh, do you want us to draw a square on a piece of paper for you? Nobody asked, right? So I just, let's go stake the property. And I figured that included a square on a piece of paper. Turns out it does not. So the property has been staked. I do not have a boundary map. I do not have a survey map. Fortunately, however, guys, this is not the 18th century. And there are roughly 8,000 pieces of software and apps for your phone that you can download and learn that this is in fact a 2.4 acre property, exactly where I said it was. And if you go out there, you'll see the stakes. And you say, oh, the boundaries are pretty well dictated. That's pretty good. Anyway, as we go through the photos here, do want to point out that apparently a square on a piece of paper is extra money. I didn't know. Do want to point out that rocky terrain here at one portion of the property. Actually, if we go back to the satellite view, you can kind of see it here like this. And if we go back here and I go to the drone photos, you can kind of get a sense of exactly where this rocky terrain is. Not in that photo, of course, but as we go through, there we go. But as we go through these, you can see it kind of occupies this one portion of the property. That being said, our photographer has assured us that there are flat areas out here that, of course, you can build on, you could park on, etc. And by the way, guys, I totally buried the major selling point of land in this region, which is that there is no planning and zoning. This is in unincorporated San Juan County, which means you could do whatever your little heart desires, whether that be just RV living, camping, tiny homes, shipping container homes, so on and so forth. But as you can see here, it's got a lot of benefits, not only close to the marina, close to the highway, power at the lot line, underground utilities very close by, servicing nearby home sites. We paid to have it staked, so on and so forth. I will have you guys know, as I mentioned, this one's priced at $12,000, which is more than we typically price these lots. That's about $4,000 more than we typically price these at. That being said, there were a lot of additional purchasing costs with this one that we don't typically encounter. We had to get some liens cleared, which we did actually end up paying for just to buy the property. We paid for the survey. And photography costs are getting more expensive these days because of, I don't know, inflation, gas prices. You do the math. Whatever the case, guys, this is the property out here, 2.4 acres, priced a little higher than I would like it to be, but still a really good property in an enviable region. Next up, guys, we are back in Colfax County, also in the northern portion of the state, with this property up here, 0.85 acre lot for $12,000, which is normally what we price these at. Should be noted for those of you wondering, hey, Hemingway, why don't you sell the other ones first and then list this? Well, that was the plan, guys. Anyway, as we go to the map, you can see this property, like all the others, sits up here in the enviable Angel Fire Resort community, very close to the ski resort up here, number one, to Monte Verde Lake down here, and to Eagle Nest Lake up here, all of which we have photos in the gallery, guys. And if we zoom in on the property, you can see this one sits here off of El Camino Real. Now, guys, I'm going to go to satellite view because I want to try to demonstrate something for you here. This property may not be ideal for everyone. This one, I think, is a little difficult to build on, might be a little expensive. It has kind of a pitch, kind of a slope, kind of a a descending from the road down type of terrain. Whatever the case, for the adventurous ones out there who do want to hire a contractor, do want to try to build on this, I think you're going to have some spectacular views, as you will see when we go to the photo gallery in just a minute, guys. First off, this is the road conditions out here by the property. You get a little bit of a sense from this photo of the fact that the property kind of drops off a lot over here. Whatever the case, there are, of course, underground utilities in the region. You got a manhole cover out here, which is always intriguing. So water services, of course, throughout the region, because they've got fire hydrants out here, because they got trees and they want to prevent forest fires. So there are water lines throughout the region. You, of course, have to investigate that one a little bit more with the HOA. Whatever the case, these photos kind of give you a sense. The photographer had to fly the drone out to the side of the property just to give you a sense of how this kind of drops off from the road. Actually, if we go to these photos, you can get a sense of the sort of footprint of the property and the fact that it does have kind of a pronounced slope to it. So may not be for everybody. If you're looking for a nice flat piece of land, this is not that. But as noted, there are some really spectacular views out here. And as you kind of go through the gallery, you can get a little bit of a sense of that. We've actually got a lot of drone shots of this than we have from the ground, simply because of the nature of the terrain. So you'll be able to get a sense of some of the really nice views that you'll see out here. Should also be noted, guys, that when our photographer was out there, he met some of the neighbors. He met these guys. Yes, one of these guys. And then his buddies were out there as well. So if you're the type who likes to feed deer apples, birdseed, deer eat birdseed for some reason, I don't know why, I'm not a scientist, you do the math. But the point is, guys, if you are the type who likes having deer as your neighbors, these guys are out there all the time. Or if you like to murder them for sport, I suppose you can also do that because they're out there close by. Though actually you can't hunt in the HOA. So I guess you'll just have to be a delightful person like me and give away free apples. Point being, guys, they're out there. Anyway, also up on the website this week, guys, we got 2 new properties in Socorro County. Not the typical 1 acres, by the way. We got a 2 acre and we got a 5 acre up here. Let me go through these very quickly. Number one, the first 2 acre property that we've got it's a 2 acre lot located here at the corner of Horatio and Flores out here. Of course, there is no power close by to the subject property, roughly about a mile away to nearest power that we were able to discern. So, of course, this is what we like to call a, quote, solar-friendly property. That being said, of course, it is one of these rare combinations of adjacent acreage, so it does have that going for us. And we've had a lot of people inquiring about when we're going to get more of these. Hey, guys, guess what? We got more of these. Next up, guys, we got another property out here. Ba-boom. There we go. All right. Giant corner lot up here in the northwest, let me acclimate myself, northwest portion of the subdivision here at the corner of Orlando and Paseo de Escodardo. There you go. Anyway, located up here, running the length of Orlando this way. It is roughly, if we go to the listing page, you're going to see we have a little diagram here, about 1,800 feet from power lines out here servicing nearby home sites. Here and here, both of these are 1,800 feet. Should be noted that this one's up here, again, in the northwest part of the subdivision, where your easiest sort of access point into the sub is here off the 304 entering in this way, as opposed to Highway 60 down here in the south. Most of these properties are a lot closer to Highway 60. This one, however, is not. Should be noted, guys, for those of you with sharp ojos who are watching this, we have actually sold this property in the past. This is one of these rare occasions where a person bought land from us, reached out to us, said, hey, I need money. I want to sell this. Do you want to buy it back from me? I encouraged them to sell it to someone who will pay them more than we will. They said, no, I just need the money. And so we bought it back. Now, guys, quick story. We do not like to do this. I do not like to do this because one time we did this and then we got saddled with a very expensive lien that was on the property. The person contracted a surveyor. They didn't pay the surveyor, and then we had to pay the surveyor. So this is when we got title insurance on, simply to make sure that there was no shenanigans, no monkey shines, if you will, guys. So if you come up here on the listing page, what you're going to see, all my pre-war colloquialisms, they're all fantastic. Warranty deed, guys. We will be providing a warranty deed. This is one we closed on with New Mexico Land and Title. So, of course, clear and marketable title as always, but we've got title insurance to back that claim up. $6,500 for this one. So we started off $500 earnest money deposit, as always. With all that said, guys, going live on the website next week, we are back. It has been a hot minute, people, but we are back in the state of Arizona, the Grand Canyon State, with some new property in a new county we have never previously before listed in. Which county could it be? The answer may surprise you. Find out next week, guys. Until then, have a great weekend.